All right, folks. Welcome to another episode of Young Justice Review, episode 12, Homefronts. I'm here with Rich. Rich, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. I'm here to slat and explain this episode.
So, this episode is pretty interesting. It's called Homefront, right? And they're being attacked at the Homefront. At the beginning, we do get Artemis kind of getting a little flashback of her sister that left. She starts her first day at Gotham Academy. Something to note in this episode, Robin is a freshman. That's what the girl says. And at some point in this episode, he said that he's been practicing his patience since he was 9. So that gives you a time frame of how long he's been Robin for. Robin and Artemis meet up at the same boom tube like thing to transport them into Mount Justice, into their cave. Robin finds it a bit fishy, but nonetheless, he kind of picks up on who she is, so I think he really knows who she is deep down. The issue is, once they get into the cave, once Artemis gets into the cave, there's a problem. We have these fire things and what eventually is these two robots. Kid Flash calls them Red Tomato and Red Onion, so I'll be calling them that for argument's sake. And they've basically taken over. They managed to find their way in. This Artemis and Robin centric episode deals with them having to go through the inner workings of the cave in order to escape and to find a way to defeat these villains, which I thought was really awesome. Eventually, they wind up finding a situation where if they shut off the energy thing to shut off all the robots, they deduce that these two are robots. The arrow that Artemis had that she used from that episode where they fought a Mazo, a robot episode then and a robot episode now, that's the thing that wound up saving them and shutting off the robots completely. Really good job for Kid Flash for using that as a souvenir. Red Tornado comes in. I think this episode is kind of a way to show us that potentially Artemis isn't the mole and now Red Tornado could be the mole. At least that's what we're potentially given. He isn't aware that he has cousins or anything along those lines, but he gets corrupted somehow. Sucks all the air out of the room, and then our heroes wake up to the Justice League helping them out. Red Tornado, Red Tomato, and Red Onion are now officially gone. So that is our episode 12, Homefront.
Yeah, that was a really good episode. Well, we knew they were robots because it looked like Red Tornado. I like the whole Robin and Artemis interaction where she's shocked to see him. He pretends he's shocked to see her at Gotham, but you could tell he knows what's going on. You know, Batman probably tells him everything.
He's hip to the groove, I will say.
Yeah, it's just funny because he's like that kid that the parent will tell stuff to, but don't tell your aunt and uncle.
Okay.
Or whatever. You know, like Batman tells him like everything. Trust him. I would say even this is a Robin and Artemis centric episode, it was more of a Artemis centric episode than anything. But I think with Robin, they just used him to show how people with powers, the two team members without powers could save the day.
Yeah, I caught on to that as well.
Yeah, you'd have to be blind not to caught on to it, I guess. Right, kind of obvious. But I did like that. We got a flashback. We kind of we got revealed who Cheshire was without actually saying it. The woman that's been taunting her with that little fight with Red Arrow two episodes ago. That's right. Her sister.
Yeah. Surprise, folks.
Yeah, it's her sister. I mean, and I like that. You know, I like the grate in her room. We have a picture of Alice in Wonderland. We have Alice, which represents Artemis, and then we have the Cheshire cat, which represents her sister, right above her. I like how in the beginning, Aqualad is actually talking to Red Tornado about a possible mole.
Right.
And he hasn't told the team yet, and he mentions you. He asks if he should say anything to the Justice League, and then like Red Tornado's like, you can do what you want, but Batman would prefer you guys to deal with things yourself. So he kind of holds it off. Then later, when Robin and Artemis are hiding out, they look at like video surveillance to see where the rest of the team is, and we see Aqualad, no pun intending, fishing around to see who's the mole. He's asking about Artemis. He's asking how Superboy and Martian Manhunt, Miss Martian's school is going. He's like fishing. I mean, he's not gonna. I think at this point he knows Wally and Robin are Wally and Dick Kid Flash and Robin aren't the moles.
But as a leader, he kind of still needs to, you have to weigh out
Vet
all
everyone.
options, I think.
Yeah, he has to vet everyone,
Right.
but I mean, but if it was gonna be the mole, I think on this show they're kind of implying the mole is one of those three, or Red Tornado now. Kid Flash and Robin, and Aqualad. It would just be weird that those three and Red Arrow. Actually, I guess it's kind of odd. Those three or four would be the mole when they've been their mentors' sidekicks this whole time.
Yeah, a part of me. So, what I enjoyed about this episode was it does feature Robin and Artemis the most in this episode. But what we get is a deeper dive into Artemis's confidence structure, how she is. They do a good job at giving flashbacks, just a little bit, hints to show how she's developed and really talking about like we got to keep this family together. And once her family, in this case, the our heroes, once they're in trouble, she goes through a hard time, but eventually figures out a way in which that she can help her current family, her adoptive family, if you will. The Red Tornado cousins, Tomato and Onion, is what I'll call them, of course. Very hard foes to fight because one can produce water, one can produce fire. They're working with those abilities, and it's just you're fighting a bunch of teenagers, and teenagers are fighting a bunch of they're fighting a bunch of robots who have very similar powers, or at least like it seems like they're Red Tornado-esque, which is very hard. Red Tornado is one of the strongest potential Justice Leaguers. He is their support system. So imagine having to fight someone very similar. What I really loved about this episode, you get really an in-depth look in how Robin thinks. He's always problem solving. When one issue rises up, he tries to find another way. He uses his tech, he uses his mindset, and really he's guiding Artemis so that this way, in the end, when he eventually gets
Fakes
caught, yeah,
he
he
fakes it.
fakes it. He's always working, if that makes any sense to anybody. And Artemis finds the confidence, finds the courage to get that EMF meter to go off. There's strength in what she's saying. It's almost like she's growing up in this episode a lot. A tough foe to fight, but our heroes make it through. And I'm glad that we see the non superhero powered heroes use their normal human abilities.
If
Yeah.
you didn't know the history of Batman and Robin and didn't see them together in the show, you could, and you just like put all these characters in a room and you say, okay, who's sidekick? You could tell like he was Batman's sidekick. He was very Batman-like.
I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. It's nice to see that like his abilities are really shown and we get the inner workings of the cave. We do get not a further development of the mole, but it wasn't brought up last episode and now it's brought up this episode. So we get mole talk in this episode. And Aqualad is now beginning the process, or at least has begun the process of trying to figure out what the hell's going on. There's an situation going on. They've been attacked inside of their home.
Which is scary if you think about it. Like if someone attacked me inside my home, it'd be really scary. I'd have nowhere to feel safe.
A great episode if you want action right away, and then for the rest of the episode, action. And like I said, you get the inner workings of the cave, and that's really cool.
Yeah, so we see they have a gym, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and 6 showers too, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, I just thought I wonder who's cleaning this place. Red Tornado.
Yeah. But they say they hide in plain sight, so people know. I'm curious to know what their electricity bill would be.
You think Bruce Wayne's fit on the bill?
I think so.
Right. I mean, or Oliver Queen too, I guess.
But it's a monkey in the wrench now with this episode. I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, Artemis is less likely to be a mole, and now I'm led to believe that Red Tornado at least has been compromised.
Yeah, what was cool though is like almost like they downloaded like this, when he touched one of his robot siblings or cousins or whatever, it's like a spark of electricity went into him. It's almost like he was corrupted with a virus.
Yeah. Rich, what did you think about this episode overall? Y por qué?
I'm gonna give it like I usually give. I'm gonna give it 8.5 over 10 out of 10. Well, I thought it was great. And it exposed a lot. It still made me want more because Red Tornado disappears at the end with them.
Yeah, he goes bye-bye.
But I wonder like how corrupted he is because he didn't kill them. Unless maybe that's not the plan to kill them because he could have killed them sucking up that oxygen.
Right.
He just did enough just so they went unconscious.
Yeah, who knows? These are like false flags being put up now. I would give this, honestly, I'd probably give this one about a 9 because I felt like I was at the edge of my seat. I liked the development because at the beginning they snapped a picture of them together. It's a Robin and Artemis episode. So, really, from the beginning to the end, Artemis and Robin are together, kind of trying to figure these things out. So, they're attached somehow in this episode. So, I like that the creators made this episode from beginning to pretty much the end, both of them centric. We get to see Kid Flash's funny stuff, even though we haven't had Kid Flash for a few episodes now. And here we get like
We haven't had.
a nice amount of Kid Flash.
We did. You know what? One thing I wanted to mention we forgot earlier. I like how tandem him and Robin work together. Like when they were building the was it the EMT? That's what you call it.
Maybe EMF?
EMF. Sorry, I'm terrible. When they're building it, and
They
then he's
needed
like getting like,
EMT after what happened to them.
yeah, yeah, sure. But when he's like Robin's on the walkie, still when Superboy and Kid Flash are stuck, then he's like telling them what to get. Okay, you got to get this. Remember, Wally's kind of like a science buff.
That's true. They do get him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, no psychic link because Miss Martian is
Martian's
in a fire cage, so they have to
along with
resort
Aqualad.
back to their technology.
Yeah, along with Aqualad. But it's good. It's kind of good she was unconscious for most of this episode or week, is it shows how the team. It's not just like, oh, we have to rely on Miss Martian, who I would say is probably the most powerful member of the team.
I would say so too.
But it's like nice to know that the team can work without, they're not beholden to her and that psychic one.
Yeah. So I give this one a 9. Overall, I liked this one was a much stronger episode, Homefront, than Terrors, the last episode. All right, folks, that was episode 12 of Young Justice Review. Stay tuned. Next episode, episode 13. Peace out, squad.
So, yo.